Hi guys, and welcome back to our channel. So today we wanted to do an official introduction. I know we haven't gotten around to that, and I feel like our channel is growing a lot faster than I had expected. I expected to get maybe like 15 to 20 views here and there, but I was totally okay with that just because it was going to give me time to learn everything behind the scenes and kind of get used to sitting in front of this camera. That's a little intimidating. So we're honestly shocked on how fast we are growing and thankful for those who stuck around during our break. So to officially introduce ourselves, my name is Marissa.
And my name is Julian.
And we're going to share a little bit more about our lives and our family. So we are a large family. We have 5 boys ranging from 2 to 18. And honestly, I don't think I could ever picture myself not having a large family. It's a lot that goes into it, but that's kind of like what we love about it. Everyone in our family is completely different. We obviously have the same similarities here and there, but everyone's personality is completely different. So we do homeschool our children.
And our 5, 8, and 11-year-old do play competitive soccer. They have trainings 4 times a week and sometimes on Saturday or Fridays. They do travel as it is a competitive team that they play for in the academy.
We do tournaments and things like that too.
Yeah. So it is definitely a commitment.
Oh yeah.
So, to go a little bit on the background of soccer, I've played since I was little. It was really important to me. But, one thing that I learned during the time that I played soccer was to be, driven at what I wanted to do. And I was also very competitive, but it also taught you how to be very structured with everything that you did. So I really wanted to ensure that our kids, played a sport because they do build a lot of structure and strictness, within your own self.
And as for me, soccer is extremely important for the health benefits. As some of you may know, I deal with health issues, and I just went through something very unfortunate. Through that, I got diagnosed with MTHFR, and now we have a team of doctors. So our cardiologist, our hematologist, and my doctor, we're kind of working together to find out what's kind of going on beyond MTHFR. They know that, MTHFR does have its problems, but what I'm dealing with is kind of a little bit more extreme than what it would cause. So I deal with heart problems and blood clots and a lot of pain. So now going through this myself, I never want my children to go through that. So if I can do anything to prevent my children from experiencing any of this, I will. And sports can kind of be the proactive way of staying healthy and teaching your children from a young age and allowing them to grow up with that like mindset to stay active and to, kind of take care of your body is critical for health. So the reason that I put my children into soccer and dedicate so much time to them is because it's investing in their health and their overall health and kind of their mental health as well. Whenever you exercise or work on something, you kind of release hormones and it changes your body. So it can prevent anxiety and depression. There's just so many benefits into being active. So that's kind of like where I stand. I don't care what sport they play. It's just, you have to do something. So that's kind of like where I am with sports and my reasoning for it. I know some people are against extracurricular activities whenever it comes to like minimalism and slow living and things like that. And again, minimalism looks different for everyone. So we are at that soccer field multiple times a week. And I think, that's the best thing for us.
It is. It's very beneficial for them to be in a sport.
Oh yeah, definitely. They have a lot of energy too, so they get to burn it there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So a little bit about us, and I'll start with me first. I work for an aerospace company, and I actually work for a specialized team. I really can't share very much about our work because it is military based, and we also do work with NASA.
We also own our own business that we want to branch throughout Florida and kind of grow. After we establish that business and grow a little bit more, we want to open up a few more other businesses. The sun is
Yeah, let's go over more.
I'm so bright.
We're gonna end up on the other side.
Let's see how bright that is.
Yeah.
Sorry, the light keeps following me. Our goal is to retire at a reasonable age, but also retire our children. So the only requirements for our children to retire early is if they start their own business. Now we will help them so much, but we also want them to see that they can have a vision and achieve that. Also, it doesn't take a lot to start a business. You can start a business with a couple $1,000s and grow it from there. I find that business mentality is 98% mentality and 2% finances. Mm-hmm. So just because you're not born rich and you don't have help growing a business does not mean that you cannot start your own business and grow like your finances. So that is definitely a goal that we have, and that's kind of what we are working towards. Sorry that we keep on moving this way and the lighting's going in and out. The sun is setting and it's kind of reflecting onto our windows. That's why we keep moving.
So in addition to our work, we also help my parents with Airbnb.
And then I'm finishing up a few courses that I had left for school. So we definitely have a lot like going on, but they're all valuable to us. So now that we shared about our children and our work, we're gonna go ahead and dive a little bit deeper on ourselves. So I'll go ahead and start with me and then pass it on to you.
Sounds good.
So a little bit more about me. I am definitely more logical and analytical. So that's kind of how like I process information. My language is in how I process information to myself is definitely analyzing and processing. So systems is something that I absolutely love. So I will apply a system to literally everything. There's systems all around us. It's kind of insane how many systems that we deal with on a daily basis. So if there is a system, I want to find out the depth of it, why it works like that, and what's its boundary. That's just how like my brain computes things. So that's something that I've applied in my house, and I'm definitely ready to like kind of teach systems. That's my cup of tea. So that's one thing about me. The second would be psychology. I love psychology. I just find that it's kind of like the answer book to everything in neuroscience. Neuroscience and psychology kind of play together. Neuroscience is kind of like why our bodies do what they do and like the reaction of which, and then psychology is kind of like the mental processing of everything. Like why am the way I am? Why do I do things the way I do? And through minimalism, I kind of developed those. So minimalism kind of forces you to understand yourself. And through that, I kind of discovered psychology and neuroscience. And ever since then, I've kind of had like my hobby. So I'll listen to videos and kind of understand why we are the way we are. And it's kind of like a cheat book. So you just study your cheat book and then you apply it to yourself. I find that very interesting. I'm constantly talking to him about it. But that's something else that I really love. I also love communication. I feel like communication is something that has so much depth to it. And, you know, we can be having a conversation, but both of us intake two different conversations just because words, they represent different things to us. Also, the meaning of like emotion is totally different to one another. So that's something that we talk about a lot. And, you know, before that, we used to have a lot of like little spouts because we kind of were talking about the same thing, but just we didn't know that.
It was less than translation when we communicated.
Definitely. Although we're speaking one language, we didn't understand what we were saying. So that's something else that I kind of want to teach is the depth of communication. And there's so much that goes into it. There's like facial expressions, body language. I could just sit throughout the day and talk about communication. So I definitely want to share our interest and, you know, the depth of everything like that. So besides systems, psychology, and neuroscience, I also like physics. I like anatomy. I like learning and also teaching. So that's a little bit about me. I'll definitely go into more depth throughout the videos, but now it's your turn.
All right, so a little bit about me. I like to live in the imaginary world, you know, what could be, what ifs, you know, that's the type of way that I picture everything. I know it's funny, but
It definitely is.
I honestly, in all honesty, it allows you to like set goals that may seem unachievable sometimes, but you know, if you truly push yourself to get to that level, you're able to get there. And you know, along with that comes psychology. I actually, you know, I am getting into psychology a lot more, as you mentioned, you know, because it does help you like understand your brain a lot more. I really like that. Lately I've been like slowing down a little bit on my thought process on how I look at everything, which, you know, allows you to understand your brain a lot better.
Yeah, it's like understanding the wiring process.
Yes.
So like in a car, right, you have the wiring systems, but like it's the fire and wire process.
That's what it is.
And that is so crazy because then you start understanding why you do what you do, where it came from. And it could just be that, you know, your grandma washed her dishes like this and now and fired and wired and now you do that. So that's so cool.
Yeah.
And I love that he also has that interest because we can sit here for hours and literally talk about it.
Honestly, and if you want to ever change any situation in your life or anything that, you know, you're processing in a certain way, just go back to, thinking, use that psychology within you to like think of who you are, what you're doing, and, change it. But that's one thing that I love. I also like neuroscience. That's very interesting to me because that, teaches you also about, the systems that you have to apply and how your body like needs to operate in a certain way, or how you need to like connect things in a certain way. Now, something that I do really love is sports. So soccer, of course, the kids are playing soccer. I've played a lot of soccer.
Literally every day when we started dating, I would sit on the sideline and so much soccer.
Okay, to be fair, I was young. I didn't know much about serious relationships, but I did play a lot of soccer. I enjoyed it. It was really fun. It actually, provided a lot of different things to me. Like we talked about our health. I was very healthy, and I felt really good. So. It did build my character, to be honest with you. At my job, I'm very like strict with what I need to do, and I'm very aware, as I mentioned. And it also taught me how to be a team player. I actually have led a group of people, and at my job, I'm currently leading a group of people as well. But it really taught me how to be that leader within a team and how to work together as one. Yeah, communication
is critical, and we all communicate different, and that is vital.
It is.
Especially for, his job is a little bit more serious. But having, I believe there's 5 or 6 people on that team, you have 5 different brains on that team. You have people that understand you, and they have to communicate with people of,
many different levels.
Yeah. So
it's important how you communicate it, because
when you understand that someone talks one way, then you apply that person to communicate with whoever it needs to be. So communication on the field is very important too, because it's body language, it's expressions, it's a lot goes into.
And then you take even communication from even a sport, because you're learning how to communicate within the team, right? With people that are that have different thoughts than you do, that have different demeanors, character, whatever it is, you have to learn how to communicate. So then with that said, like it even comes down to your marriage, and that's something that, you mentioned a minute ago about communication, languages, the way we talk. I'm interested in that. I love, learning about that, because the way we communicate with each other, we may come to the same point, but what we're saying may not mean the same thing to us. So,
it still happens to us.
Yeah, we're understanding each other.
Even though we're aware of it, it happens to us.
Yeah. So, that's something that I'm very interested in. I love understanding the way she talks. And I love understanding the way that others talk. That way, I can better get a grasp of what they're trying to say and try to get across to me. And I want them to, do the same with me. But that's kind of what sports provides. And, that's another one of my interests. I would say the last interest that I have is nature. I think that's one of the last ones, but I still got one more. But I do love nature. I love going hiking with the family. It's very fun. It's also very athletic. We go up in hills and whatnot. So we enjoy doing that as a family, and you get to smell the nature outside. That's
it's a different energy when you're on a trail compared to like in the city. The energy is just totally different.
Yeah,
you kind of need that break.
Yeah,
and the silence. It's nice.
You do. And one last thing that I like to do is I'm spiritual. I like to connect with the earth, and myself as well. So I like meditation. Meditation is very important because it does allow you to reset your brain, allows you to focus and hone in on what you're wanting to do on that day.
Yeah. So he likes meditation more for the spirituality. Yeah. I kind of like it more for the neuroscience. So if you meditate for 17 minutes a day or like longer, it can literally reshape your brain.
Yeah.
Like the processing of your brain and like the physical image of your brain can actually reshape through meditation. So, it's cool that we have the same interests, but the different reasonings behind it.
Yeah.
And I never want to smother out his reasoning for why he likes something, and he doesn't do that to me either. So it's just embracing the difference. But also, you can be similar.
Yeah.
But not pushing your belief on too.
And I think, with what you like, and I like, we actually complement each other because we have found things that, you know, you may like and then I may like.
Oh, yeah.
And then like we have like tried it and actually liked it. So, you know, having differences in a relationship really does help you understand different sides of the world that, you know, we never have. So
yeah, for us, we were two different people. Like we literally came from two different environments, two different cultures, like two different languages, two different everything. And now, you know, experiencing life with my husband, I constantly preach to my children, don't ever go for someone that is like you. Go for someone that is completely different than yourself, like completely different. And the reason for that is because you're going to experience the whole world in a whole different light. Like he's brought so much awareness and like things that I didn't even know existed to me that I would have never known if I would have stayed in my comfort zone.
Same here. There's many comfort zones, like, you know, communication. I would say, like, I've done communication during sports and it taught me a lot, but I'm gonna be honest with you, you have also helped me, you know, come out of my shell with communication, especially in my job, because yes, you can learn it in sports, you can bring it to your life, but when it comes to work, sometimes we are a little bit more shy, more reserved, because we got our higher management and, you know, you have to communicate a certain way. So something that you helped me do was push out of that comfort zone and really start understanding the languages that other people were talking. And when you do understand somebody else and their language, then you get more comfortable, you don't get so shy, and then you're able to communicate a lot better.
Oh, for sure. And also, like, if you speak their language, they're more comfortable with you. So, you know, in an intense situation, especially, you were able to, you know, diffuse that situation because they don't have to feel the pressure of, you know, getting that information across. And I know we all, like, we might not be aware of communication, how, like, important it is, but sometimes we get frustrated and we start, like, being too aggressive with the way we're communicating with one another because we know they're not going to get it. That's simply because we speak two different languages. So, you know, math and reading and art, everything is just a different language. Like, it's literally communication. And I'm going to talk more. I know I'm getting too deep in this.
And math actually, it's one of my other things that I love, because math is what really makes the world, to be honest with you. You know, you use it for every single thing, for your job, for your time management, your daily routines. I mean, everything that you do, it's got to be mathematical. You got to think about what's to come next, how long something's going to take.
But it's definitely not the most important. He's mathematical.
I love it.
I am processing, so I have to process everything. I need to know why does it look like that? What's the shape for? Like, you know, like a wipey container. I wonder who did that. I wonder why they use this method. I wonder, you know, I just.
But at the end of the day, that complements each other.
But everything is critical. Like our 11-year-old loves art. Like if you want to communicate with him, you sit down and you draw with him. And you like. He's creative. He's really creative.
He's very creative.
Our 8-year-old loves robotics. So you change your communication to robotics or anything like that, you have his attention. So, you know, that's something we're going to teach. And
our 18-year-old loves sports. You talk about sports, there you go.
He also likes humor.
He does.
You know, I don't know sports. Couldn't tell you much about it, but I've tried it. But with him, it's humor with me. Like we constantly are joking back and forth, and you know, we can talk about a serious topic through humor. And it's just learning how to communicate. We're getting too deep.
That's funny. That's how everything comes back to communication, doesn't it?
So our interests are similar, obviously, but our personalities are completely different. And although we like one thing, it's going to be for two different reasons. And I kind of want to embrace that on our channel and share that, because even in a marriage, you have to have two different personalities to be able to, you know, for me to be attracted to him, it's him, it's his personality, and for him is me. So it's vital that, you know, in your marriage, you stay true to who you are, because that's what attracted you to each other. So that's a little bit more, I didn't need to go that deep into that. But moving on. So our next topic is why I decided to do YouTube. So touching bases on that again is, you know, staying true to who you are and my husband, he loves sports with my children. My children love sports. I love learning, but I wanted to have like a creative outlet for myself. And I decided to do YouTube. And my main reason to do YouTube was to help other people out there that kind of was feeling the same way that I did and that we used to. It literally felt like we were trying to keep our heads above water with everything.
It's been a game changer since then.
And the only thing we were keeping up was like our nose and our mouth. Like our eyes were completely like submerged. So that was such a negative feeling. And just the thought of like, putting myself back in those shoes is very daunting. So I know there's so many people out there that feel the same way. And I think it's just part of being a human. It's not that you're flawed or you're not capable or anything, because that's how I used to think about myself. And I want to show that, you can do whatever you want in your life and you have 24 hours. Like everybody has the same amount of time. And I talk to him about this all the time. I used to look at these people that had multiple businesses. They bicycled through 15 countries and they had 92 hobbies and they, helped the shelter on the weekends. And I was thinking like, how the heck do they do that? It must be nice not to have to do X, Y, and Z. But whenever I really got to a point of minimalism, it showed me that I don't have to do X, Y, and Z. Just because that's tradition, just because that's the way somebody else does something, does not mean that I have to do that. So that's when my mind shifted and I started going for what I wanted to do and teaching my family kind of like the same thing. So just because it's tradition and just because everybody else is doing it does not mean you have to do it. So don't ever think that. And I'm gonna like help you kind of unwire that. That was a hard one for me to do. I was a young mom, so I, thought, oh my gosh, if my kids don't have straight A's, I'm a bad mom and it's because my age. And if my kids don't look like this, then I'm a bad mom and it's because my age. Or, if their hair is a mess, it's my age and I'm like a young mom. Like it was just always that pressure. And just because I was a young mom doesn't mean I wasn't a good mom. And looking back at it, like I beat myself up pretty bad.
Yeah,
so,
you were a great mother and a great wife.
Yeah, but I know like no matter what age you are, it's just coming with the territory as a mom. You just constantly think that you should be doing better and you should be doing more. And what you should really be doing is being you. Like at the end of the day, if you give your children who you are and what makes you happy, you're a good mom, period. So
I agree.
So unwiring that is definitely a process and it's something that you do personally. I do have some tips and things that I went through and hopefully me sharing my experience can kind of open your horizons to like knowing, there's different ways. I'm never going to push, my way on anybody. I think that when you push your way on somebody, it's very like, I don't know, it's just not a good feeling. We're all different. And even if we live under the same house, we're still different. So pushing your ways onto somebody isn't okay.
I think the goal is to be able to teach our process and our methods on how we do things. And then you guys, would build your own process and methods from that, because I think that's the best way to do it. You can watch somebody, learn something from them, and then eventually, create your own things, because at the end of the day, your minimalist journey is going to be a lot different than what ours is. Yeah. So pushing, our methods onto you guys would never work for you guys.
No. So that's kind of what made me start my journey into decluttering and minimalism, is just the constant feeling of falling behind, trying to stay afloat, and, never feeling content. And I feel like that's kind of like the theme of everyone that wants to become minimalist, is that you kind of like everything just clicks, right?
Feeling overwhelmed.
That that's an unachievable feeling, is to feel like you've kind of made it and you've done this and you've done that. There's just too much to like handle. So if you're feeling that way, I can definitely like relate with you, and hopefully I can give you some like tips and tricks on how to start unwiring that process. So I want to make these videos just to kind of help other people out there, and not just moms, because I feel like it's everyone. The pressure of life just gets all of us equally, and it's just it's not cute.
No,
it's not a fun thing to be in. So hopefully we can make that a lot more fun with our methods and understanding and kind of giving more of a why why you're feeling that way. And when you understand why you're feeling a way, you kind of are more aware. So when you're aware, that's where change happens. Everything starts with awareness. And sometimes like it sounds so simple, but just because you didn't think it, it doesn't click. So that's kind of like what I started YouTube for. At the beginning, I was just gonna do cleaning videos just because that was safe, right? Like you always want to stay in your comfort zone and your little safety net. And he pushed me out of that to kind of teach minimalism. So here we are.
So when she started doing the YouTube videos, she wanted to teach her cleaning methods, which, I felt that it was a great idea, but I know that there was more to cleaning than just, cleaning, of course.
Right.
And I understand that she knows, or your processes very well. And to me, like, yeah, you can teach cleaning, but how did we get to that level of cleaning? So how did we get to deep cleaning the way we do? And understanding that, I felt that, we needed to teach the minimalism journey. And, at the time I was telling her, my wife, hey, let's go ahead and teach minimalism as well. And she felt that, I don't think I can. I don't think I know what to teach. And I'm telling her, you're amazing at teaching that. You have a great process, you have a great understanding, and it really, took a shift. It really took a shift. And that's when you said, okay, well, let me think about this. Yeah. And that's when you came back and said, you know what? I can help other people because, back when I did minimalism, I wanted some help, and maybe this is a chance for me to teach what I have and hopefully, help somebody else that is going to need, to understand the process of minimalism, because minimalism comes wrapped up with so many things. It's not only decluttering.
Decluttering, I feel like, is the smallest little like slice of the pie, right? Like it all starts with getting rid of things, and we are who we are today by simply putting stuff in a bag. Yeah. So it's a little bit crazy. It's mind warping for sure. It is.
And you got decluttering, you got organizing, you got your tidying, you got your deep cleaning, and that all comes together in one. But minimalism allows you to start looking at each individual piece to then, bring it together.
And we're going to be talking about that too. I have a video in line for that. So I actually sat at the table for a few weeks. Yeah. And I wrote out like topics that I kind of want to like talk about and put them in order. So that's the series that's going to be coming, and hopefully, And
I'm very excited for those series. We have conversations about, a lot of these topics together, and, listening at, your process is so exciting and refreshing, because I enjoy like even the processes that you go through. Because honestly, that's what a lot of companies do. Yeah. They go through processes, and me coming from, working in companies, that's what I'm seeing. Like, wow, this is why companies do this. And you've shown me that, those methods and those processes have been so effective in our house.
Yeah. I just feel like everything has obviously a system, but in every system there is like micro systems and then macro systems. Yeah. And some systems just need to be simple systems, like your laundry system. It's definitely one that you don't want to have multiple systems to. Yeah. And I'm going to be talking more about that and how to prevent like laundry backup, because laundry is definitely one of those things that can get backed up. That's what I used to struggle with. But just the systems that you place in your house, and there's so many things that go on in your house, especially with a larger family. So knowing that all the systems are kind of like the gears that are turning at the same time, and they're all vital. So
and we're actually working for a system in our garage and our car, because that is our weaknesses.
But it's a multifunctioning room or environment, right? So when something has multi-functions, there's just a lot of systems that need to be in place. Like each function needs a system with like how many ever. And our garage is just always a hodgepodge. Before we moved, I did get a great system in my garage. I would love to reapply that one in this one, but unfortunately our house is going through everything. So we can't paint anything, otherwise it voids the warranty. We can't add anything. We added hooks, I think that's fine, But we also don't want our builders to be like, the reason that this is happening is because you did this or that. So our garage is definitely not, it's
not that it looks terrible, but you know, we need a system, a better system. We need a better system to like keep it intact. But you know,
but that's a system that I can kind of develop here on YouTube.
Yeah.
And you know, my car is also a multifunctioning thing. So you know, we go on hikes, we go to soccer, we go on soccer like tournaments and drives. We go to the beach. We go so many places. So
I love country drives.
We go on country drives. We constantly are going to the country. So, you know, having a system that is always evolving is definitely a harder one. For my car, I have a vision for it to be empty, and my garage too. So with that being my vision, everything that has to be in there is going against that. So that's something that I'm going to have to shift my mind. So figuring that one out, I'll definitely share that here on YouTube. We have kids, we have bikes, we have, you know, our grill in there. Like we use everything that is in our garage.
Yeah, sports, everything. I mean, it's pretty much everything that we like to do. So
yeah, it's realistic stuff in our garage. It's just that we do a lot outside. So you won't find a lot of things inside of our house. But when it comes to outdoors, that's where you're going to find.
And I think we'll have a video even for this about your interests. So we'll explain more later on as to, you know, the differences between your interest and your home or whatever.
Yeah. And that's okay to have like an area that, you know, you have your interest or your hobby in, and it looks a little bit more cluttered than the rest of your house. It's totally fine. As long as it's not every single room of your house. That's okay.
Yeah.
So that's something that I can develop here on YouTube is our garage system. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't only want to show, you know, our successes and things that I've already figured out. I want to show, you know, our messes and our things. Like we live in our house, so you know our house gets messy, but every mess only takes so long to clean up because it's a manageable amount. So you know, I'll show my tidy with me, my clean with me, my declutters with me, like everything. I want to show every step of the way. So that's something that I'm excited to do YouTube for.
Yeah.
So getting back on the topic, that's kind of like what I want to do with YouTube and kind of why we're sharing minimalism now. I definitely wanted to do cleaning in the beginning just because it was safer. So
yeah, so yeah, typically she thinks that, you know, other people know this steps already and this processes. But honestly, even me, like I've struggled in the past to understand, you know, the processes until you really like break it down and, you know, put it down in paper and understand how to do things. You know, you're really going to, you know, be able to grasp that concept. And, you know, going back to what I said, you know, companies do that. They do that for a reason. Everybody writes standard work because you would need to understand how to do each process and each step. So, you know, that's what I told her, you know, that what you have, it's a great learning lesson. It really helps you, you know, like understand what needs to happen to achieve your goals and to become minimal and great at decluttering, great at cleaning, great at tidying, you know. Honestly, this processes really will help you a lot. And not to say that those processes is what you're going to do, but you can like combine it and make it all into your own and how you know, can process it and understand it with your own language.
Yeah, I love when people take something and, you know, they just have like an idea from somebody else and then they create like a whole new realm. That's so cool. So that's something that, you know, hopefully on my Instagram we can kind of like share like pictures, progress, all of the things. So that's definitely one of my struggles. I just feel like everybody already knows everything that I know. So he's constantly like telling me, explain it a little bit more. And I'm like, they already know.
And actually, you know what? You push me
I push
out of my comfort zone at my job. And now, you know, I created my own project for our team. And I've excelled in that project. I've been running it for the last 3 years. So, you know, that's why I ended up pushing her to do this project because I felt that I felt like you could really step out of that comfort zone and really be able to get out there with this information. And I wanted to join her with this because I feel like, you know, this is a family journey. And, you know, we want to teach everything from, you know, doing it by yourself, doing it with your spouse, and doing it with your kids, and then doing it as a family completely.
Yeah, and you know, you being involved is also going to be able to communicate to a whole different sector, right?
Yeah.
So like men, I feel like, you know, women, we share a lot more than men do. And I know there's like men on Minimalist on YouTube for sure. But like, you know, being a family that is full of minimalists, you know, our children are also minimalists. They're different types of minimalists. We're going to be sharing a video of that as well. But, you know, having a whole compared to a singular is a complete game changer.
It is.
And
it really is.
He can explain his parts. I can explain mine. You know, we see things totally different. And, you know, having two viewpoints compared to one is going to be a lot.
Yeah, and my goal is to be able to like teach you guys, if there's guys here watching this channel, you know, I want to be able to help you guys understand the process, because I know guys sometimes don't view, you know, minimalism, organization, decluttering, you know, all this stuff, you know, as you guys do. You know, you the women are typically you guys care about the home in a different way than we do. Yeah. And, you know, that's very important also for a guy to start understanding that, because you want to come into your wife's world. You know, you can really shift the relationship a lot, because you want to understand her. And when you start understanding your wife, your bond really becomes stronger. And not only that, but even your family, your kids, you can get them involved in this journey. And, you know, once they understand your journey as well, kids are very smart.
Well, they're highly intelligent.
And you know, they'll appreciate what you're teaching them, and they'll start embracing.
Yeah, they'll just make it their way. And as long as you allow them to make it their way, they'll do it. Like they'll see the benefits of it. They'll know that it's, you know, it's okay and it's fine to get rid of stuff that you don't want. Minimalism in children, I absolutely love. That's just because that's something you kind of like teach, but you have to sit back and like see how it goes. So I'm definitely going to be sharing some of that too. But, you know, getting back to what he was saying is like, you know, if you really want to meet your wife like you did in the beginning of the relationship, you have to think, right? So both of you came into a relationship not sharing one singular possession, right? And you were yourself, you had time for yourself and everything. But through having a family, you change and you shift and you become a whole different person. And that's critical, right? Yeah. To become someone other than a single person. But to meet your wife again, you have to help her get to a starting point of feeling like she
completely agree
is
with
capable
that.
Of taking care of the house and the kids and this and that. And although it's not the woman's job, I'm going to, you know, be straightforward with that. I feel like a family is, you know, it's shared. In our house, it's called the wheels on the bus. So every family member is a wheel. And, you know, when one is flat and it needs help, either you go assist that or, you know, you have to blow up your own tire basically. But all those wheels need to be rolling. And that's how a functional house can, like, you know, come out on top. So that's something that we're going to be, you know, talking more on. But, you know, if you really want to see your wife as you did at the beginning, help her get to a point that she's able to manage all of that. Because personally, this for me, I couldn't manage all of that. And I don't think I should have ever.
Honestly, a house is a huge part of your life. And to drop it off on one person, I'm sorry. I've even done it. Remember when you were going to work for a while and then I was at home with the kids? It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. So it's important to be part of the family and also part of the home and, you know, help your wife with everything that, you know, the home comes with.
It's very vital that you work together as a family. So I'm going to be sharing a video on how I got my family on board with minimalism and kind of like, you know, what route I went. And, you know, I think it's more beneficial. I think we have become closer through minimalism and the decluttering process instead of fighting and, you know, going for each other. So I want to share that like as soon as I can, because I know there's like couples out there that just don't see eye to eye, and it's okay to not see eye to eye, but, you know, to understand one another. So we'll be making a video of that, and you can share your parts of how like you felt during that process. So I'm excited.
I'm excited as well.
Excited to get into the whole YouTube thing. I've kind of shifted my schedule and routine. So now I'm gonna have some time to set aside for YouTube and hopefully, get these videos out pretty quickly. I wanna do one on Monday and Friday for sure. So I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited. So thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.